Action! Cut! Go back! It's basically the main woman character is showing this knight from the past around in her world, and they're having this picnic. These guys are tossing around a football and interrupt their picnic a few times, and then the knight gets a little perturbed and stabs the guy's football and tosses it back to them, and that was that little scene.
Wild for a man in uniform.
Yeah, it is a romantic comedy. We developed it primarily, like I said, to take to film festivals when we have a feature script written as well with the same title. That we're using this to gain attention and to attract studio investors or private investors so that we can get funding to do the feature film.
My husband, the director, we're like a husband and wife team. I'm producer, he's director, and so we kind of just work together to get everything done. So I came up with this story about a knight that travels from his time to ours, and just got a writer to write it, and then we just went into pre-production, and now we're here. It's only been, I contracted our writer right after Christmas, so in 3 months we've gone from writing the script to rewrites to pre-production to production to this is our second to last weekend to shoot, so we're actually almost finished in 3 months. So
Orvin is basically a swashbuckling knight character who enjoys the ladies and takes advantage of the virgins and gets himself in a lot of trouble. And that trouble is what sort of initiates the whole film, where he's running from the king's men who are trying to attack him for having had intercourse with a virgin that he wasn't supposed to. And so he gets away from them and meets up with the character of Coventina, who offers him a chance to get away, not knowing the actual terms of the agreement, which is how he ends up in today's time and meets up with Gillian.
She's the character that ends up getting a little twist in her life when some guy shows up in her pool, and he ends up being a knight from the old world. Got involved with it just through Robin and Ty. I've worked with them before, and she wrote me an email one day asking if I'd be interested in doing it, and told me a little bit about it, and it's like, yeah.
We're going to the Botanical Gardens to shoot the period piece of our movie. I believe it's set in the pioneering, Western 1860s, maybe?
making it tight so it doesn't look like a bag. It looks like she's pregnant, because she is.
I am pregnant. No, that's not it's not correct. Like, period, it's not correct.
So?
Oh, if they were pregnant, it wouldn't be tied right there. It would just be like a bag. Yeah.
This is TV land. This is an adaptation of the original scene that we were going to have. The scene originally was going to be in a fountain in the 1940s, but we couldn't find a fountain that was usable here in Austin that we were allowed to use, so we had to adapt it a little bit. So we went to more of a prairie time frame, and then with the well. So anyway.
Which is kind of too bad, because there are some fountains in Austin that would have been
really nice.
Really nice.
We just weren't allowed to use them.
Yeah, we either could not get permits, or the owners of the property were like super rich and they didn't want filmmakers touching their stuff. So here we are at some place that's for free and we know we can use.
We got these costumes from Texas State. I just graduated from there in December. And so they let us borrow them. We needed a few for the Prairie Girls. We didn't have any little girl dresses, so I actually made one. I don't even know if they're gonna fit. We tried one on Jen, and that fits her, but I haven't tried one on yet, and the other extra hasn't tried it on yet, so we're just hoping. We're gonna use a lot of safety pins if they're big.
I'm an extra, which means I'm kind of the people that go across in the background that you don't pay attention to or notice, but if they weren't there, you'd notice they weren't there. In Austin, there's a very connected film community, and there's a couple of websites that actors go to time and time again. One is called austinactors.net, and the other one is a Yahoo group called Austin Film Casting. And people post things there on the websites asking for extras or speaking parts, posting auditions and things like that. So that's how I found out about it.
Be still, you gotta listen. You gotta listen like all the rest of the cousin girls. When I call action, y'all are just gonna walk right over here. Y'all can talk to each other. Doesn't really matter what you're talking about. Some kind of feeding the chickens, living in the barnyard days. And when y'all get here, Orvin is gonna come spluttering up over the side. And when he does, that scares you.
You guys are gonna scream.
And it startles you pretty bad. And I mean, it would be kind of weird having this guy dressed in armor coming up out of your well. So you're gonna turn around all startled and basically rush back the way you came.
This is actually the final scene in the film where the two main characters, Gillian and Orvin, end up, well, the previous scene they fell into a pool and then they emerge in this location, which is, I think, set as about 1860, so they've actually moved back in time, but not far enough back to be in Orvin's time. It's just a little trick played on them by the character of Coventina, who's just kind of screwing with their lives at this point.
She played a trick on the knight in the first place and sent him into the future where he meets his love interest and falls in love with her, and he thinks that he still has to go back at some point, back in time, and he has to leave her behind. Well, they end up kissing, they fall into this pool, and this water goddess character is actually playing a trick on both of them and sends them together into an entirely different time period, which is back in like the 1840s to 1860s, somewhere in that time period. All right, quiet. And action.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
Cut.
Did you have people walking in the background? We had locations cancel on us. We had actors had to be recast at the last moment because their schedules didn't work like they thought they would. I mean, just one thing after another. But I'm a very tenacious person. I don't stop. And a lot of the people on the film are the same way. So we just kind of pushed through no matter what came our way. And we're almost done. So
we have primarily contracted people with the understanding that they'll do stuff for us for free, and if we get funding to do a feature, well, then they will have first option to audition and possibly get a role in the feature film. And the same has gone for the contracts that we've done with the crew. If we get the funding to do the feature, well, then those are going to be the first people we contact, and they get the first job offer on the feature film. And so we've been working with a lot of people who are doing it for free for right now. I think you'll find the good and the bad wherever you go, and I know here in Austin there's been several people that were total flakes, but that, like I said, I think that's anywhere you go. So overall, I'm not displeased. So.